Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a quick video for you on the topic of my paintball guns breaking paint. I get this question all the time and see it on the forums all the time, so I thought I should address it. And it's when you go out to play paintball and suddenly you're shooting and all you're shooting is soup and paint breaking everywhere, and you hear the person, "Help, my gun is chopping." So in this video, what I'm going to look at the difference between a chop and a barrel break and some of the causes that create both of those situations and explain how they are different. So I have a gun here and I have some paint. I'm going to show you the difference. So first, the difference between the two are between a chop and a barrel break is a chop is when your bolt literally chops the ball in half. So your ball's falling down the breech. Instead of sitting down here where it's supposed to rest, it's actually not fully seated at the bottom of the breech, and the bolt comes forward anyways, and it literally chops the ball in half. So that's a chop, and that can be caused by a couple issues. A barrel break is when the ball actually gets pushed into the barrel by the bolt, and then it breaks inside of the barrel or explodes inside of the barrel for whatever reason. And although you will see, hey, there's all kinds of paint inside my barrel, there are two different things that are going on and how they can be teched. So first, we're going to address the issue of a chop. So for a ball to get to chop in here, let me see if I can mimic the situation. So we're going to look right here. If you can see, in here, the ball actually hasn't reached the bottom of the breech yet, but the bolt is putting pressure on it. So when the bolt, if it had air pressure behind it, it would actually chop the ball and it would break the ball in half, or at least a little bit. There's a couple causes to that situation. One, your eyes are malfunctioning or they're dirty. Your eyes are made to not let the bolt shoot forward until the ball sits all the way down on the breech until it can move forward, all right? So you want to check and clean your eyes. That's the most common reason for a chop. And what happens is once you break one, if the ball is broken in half and then the ball sits down at the bottom of the breech and you get another ball sitting in half, the bolt will actually keep chopping the next ball in the stack because it's not a full ball's length, if that makes sense. So rather than a situation of I can push the bolt forward without a hindrance here, if the ball's broken, it'll actually keep chopping the next ball in the breech. So first thing is your eyes. The second one can be actually your detents. Your detents hold the ball from moving out of place, but let's see if I can mimic this. If your detents are bad, like seen in this picture, and the ball gets stuck halfway through the breech, that means the second ball in the stack will fall down farther than where it should, and the bolt can clip the second ball. So that is, instead of them sitting on top of each other, if it's pushed too far forward, this ball comes down here and the bolt actually slices the bottom of the second ball. That's another cause for a chop. And those are issues with detents or with dirty eyes, and it just keeps going off of itself. It can also be caused originally by a broken ball that goes into the breech. So if you load a broken ball, the ball's broken already, it sits down, the next ball in the stack sits down farther than it should, and it gets chopped, and then there you got a problem, and you just start breaking a lot of paint until it can clear it out. So that is one of the causes. The other thing, the barrel break. The barrel break can be caused by multiple issues. One of them being the size of your paint. So we got paint here. This is actually a 675 insert. It is way smaller than you'll ever use for paintball normally. It's made for reballs. But if you see, this ball barely fits in that breech. And what can happen There, got it out. What can happen is when your bolt pushes the ball into the barrel, the ball's too big, and the pressure there of smacking it actually can break the ball inside your barrel, and you get all the paint shooting outside. That may not be an eye issue. So if your eyes are clean and the paint's not broken to begin with, it can be your bore of your insert. Look, there's a broken ball already. The bore of the insert is bad, or the bore match is bad. You see, I actually broke this ball just by pushing it through the barrel, and that shows exactly what happens. That was just with a squeegee, but imagine a bolt slamming it. So that's a way to see a barrel break. All right, so what you also may have barrel breaks for is mainly with poppets, but also with some of the adjustable solenoid guns. What can happen with a poppet, you actually can adjust the LPR speed. This is an LPR. LPR controls how fast the bolt moves forward and how hard it hits the ball. You have things like on a Geo and SFR, it kind of controls the bolt speed as well. If it's really brittle paint and it's really cold and the bolt is moving way too fast, sometimes that creates barrel breaks, because when the bolt hits the ball, it literally just causes it to explode or crack. To tell, like I said, the first thing you want to check is actually the eyes of the gun. The eyes should be clean. I will add with the issue of the eyes and chopping, if your battery is low, if it even shows, if you have a digital display and it shows a bar dropped, sometimes it won't even show a bar dropped. There's not enough juice to power both the eyes and the solenoid, and so the gun faults on the eyes and it just runs the solenoid, and you can start braking at that point too. So that could be a chop. With the barrel brakes, sometimes if your LPRs aren't tuned properly, or if it's so cold outside and the paint's so brittle and the gun hasn't been tuned to handle soft paint, then you have that issue as well, with it causing breaks. And so those are two issues with the barrel brakes. To kind of be able to see the difference, it's not 100% science here, but you can kind of tell a difference. When you get a chop, usually you have, let's see if I can break this. Usually you will have something where you got not as much paint there, but you'll see paint on the bolt itself. You'll also have issues where you have paint that comes up in the breech. So a lot of times it'll shoot paint up in the breech, because literally the ball's chopped in half, while half of it's in the breech and half of it is in the feed neck still. So it'll shoot up into the feed neck part of the breech, and then you'll get paint on half of the bolt. That is a pretty surefire way of telling that, hey, my gun's actually chopping paint. Check your eyes. You may be having a problem there. Check your detents. You may be having a problem there. Your detents want to sit the ball from rolling too far forward. With a barrel brake, it actually, it didn't break. Can't simulate it now, but usually what you see with the barrel brake is your barrel is just covered with paint. You don't get a whole bunch of it in the breech of the gun right here, and you usually don't see much in the feed neck area, but you just see an explosion of paint. And you can also see barrel breaks when you're shooting and then it just kind of like a spray paint gun and right outside of it. That's usually a barrel break. Again, that can be the paint is just so overwhelmingly brittle that your gun can't handle it. That does happen at times. Or you have problems where your LPR settings are set up, or bolt speed. Geos, try turning the LPRs down. It's softer on paint. And your bore size. If your bore is just too tight, when you bore size a barrel, you want it so that it can, the perfect match, it doesn't roll through, but with very little force, it actually blows through, as you see there. So that would be a perfect match right here, and that allows it to not put too much stress on the ball. If you're still really cold and brittle paint, you may want to go with a larger bore and just large enough that the ball rolls through. You'll lose a little efficiency, but you'll break less balls. So all in all, those are two main areas that you can check and see, hey, I'm breaking paint. Is it the paint? Is it my barrel or detents, or is it the eyes or batteries, or am I having another problem going on here? I hope that helps. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you found to work, or areas that you've experienced barrel breaks or chopping. So thanks for watching, guys.